Hi, my name is Ben Fairfield. I'm principal trumpet of the Abilene Philharmonic and co-principal trumpet of the Midland Odessa Symphony in Texas. And I want to talk to you a little bit in these times where we're all stuck at home with not a lot to do about a trumpet fundamental topic. And I'm gonna do a very simple lip slur this morning. But let me start by saying lip slur is kind of probably not the right name to call it. It's done mostly with the air. The movement of the air changes the pitch rather than anything physically we do with our lips. Yes, our lips do move a little bit, but it's as a result of the kind of air that we're sending through our instrument. And actually, if you really want to get technical, it's mostly done with our tongue. It's kind of a tongue level exercise. So we'll call them lip flexibilities because that's kind of the generally accepted term, but understanding that it's the movement of the air that really changes the pitch. So I'm going to start with a simple slur. I'm going to start on middle G, and I'm going to go down to C, back to G, up to C, and then back down to G. And it's going to sound like this. Right, so what I'm doing is moving my air either faster or slower in order to create the register changes, right? As if we move our air a little quicker, the aperture size in our lips, that's generally what changes the pitch, but it's so small, the movement of the aperture is so small that we're not really in control of that. The aperture, A-P-E-R-T-U-R-E, meaning the hole, the tiny hole in between the lips where the air comes out, that's what ultimately changes the pitch of the instrument. But like I said, it's so small that we're not in control of that. So what we can control, and what I like to think about when I play, and have my students think about when they play, is for a lower note, we want a little larger opening of the aperture, meaning a little bit slower air. And the opposite for the upper register. The higher we go, the faster the air has to become. The tongue can kind of arch. I liken it to whistling. As we whistle, I'm not a fantastic whistler, but the concept is the same. The tongue kind of arches up. It starts low. The front of the tongue will actually go down, and the middle of the tongue will arch up like that and help funnel the air through. It's kind of the same concept if you've ever taken a garden hose and put your thumb over the end of a garden hose and it spits the air straight out. That's essentially what we're doing here as we whistle. Right? Things become smaller. And that's really what we do. See if I can get close enough. When we make our aperture size, the hole is going to get a little smaller or larger if we go lower. So really what I like to think of as I'm moving air is not a vertical, doing these lip slurs, it's not going up and down. It's actually on a horizontal plane away from my bell. So the higher I go, the smaller the air column becomes and the further away from me it goes. So if I'm going to ascend from that G, each time I go higher, the airstream gets a little bit smaller and farther away from me. The opposite, it's going to get a little warmer and rounder and slower as I go. The lower I go, the slower the air is going to become. Okay, so let's play this together. I'm going to play that exercise one more time, and then let's take 4 counts in between, and then I'd like you to play that back to me. So I'll start, then I'll count for 4 counts in between. You play that back to me if you will. So here I go. I'll start. 1, 1, 2, ready, and good. How'd you do? Remember, it's the air, the horizontal movement of the air, the fast or slow, the speed of the air that's going to ultimately change those registers. So the higher we go again, the air is really moving in and out, right? Further away or closer to you. And as I get a little closer, I also like to think of blowing on a warm bowl of soup for the low register. That's kind of my go-to analogy. So if I had a bowl of soup and I put it to my face and I go, what's going to happen? It's going to splash everywhere, right? So what do? We spread our air out. We make it a little more what we call diffuse. So it's slower and covers a larger surface area. And that's what I do as I go into the lower register. I want my air to go slower and a little bit wider column. The exact opposite is true for the upper register. I want it to become more narrow and farther away from me. Okay, so we can go through, I won't do that now, but as you practice, go through all of the valve combinations. Start with the G, C, G, and then second valve, first valve, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, and 1, 2 and 3, and you get all the combinations available to us on the trumpet. Hope you find this helpful. Hope everyone is staying healthy. Please contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.